Hello, my name is Dennis Seatsma, and I'm in Homestead, Florida, south of Miami, north of Key Largo. It's August 30th, 2024. It's a Friday. It's 8:16 a.m. on the East Coast of the USA. In this video diary for today, this video documentary about my 1994 Astro van, I'm going to be talking about the work I'm going to do today, which is I want to do a little bit more on the exhaust side of my 1994 Astro van that I've owned since new. Yesterday, and I won't be doing these diaries forever. I have limited time, and I got to get this thing running like within the next couple of days. So I know I drone on in these videos, but I got to get this engine running so I can get the core back to Powertrain Products ASAP. But I don't want to release the core until I know I've got a running engine in the van. And this take me a long time, but I'm doing some research at the same time. Like last night, I went through all my 3/8 inch SAE bolts and have them in different lengths now marked as to, this is 1.25 inches, and that's too short for my exhaust. And then this is 3/8-16 national course, and this is 2 3/8, and this is too long. And then I have others I haven't finished marking that are way too short. And then, but in my research I ferreted out that 1.5 inch SAE 3/8-16 national course is too short, and 2 inches too long. So I'm efforting to get 1.75 inches, 1.75 inches long in the SAE 3/8-16 national course bolts, preferably grade 9 bolts for exhaust manifold with serrated panhead. But I found something very close at Napa, but I couldn't order it for some reason. It said you have to order it online plus shipping, and you can't pick it up at the store. And when I tried, it wouldn't let me. So, plus my Pacer group, I tried to have that ordered and shipped here at the farm, the Tropical Fruit Grove in the Redland farming area, and that didn't work either. So I got to call both companies and find out what's going on with their websites, that I can't order this stuff and have it shipped to where I am. You know, there's a difference between the billing address and the delivery address, and maybe it's security, I don't know, but I gotta call them and find out why. But I use this this die to prove that they are SAE 3/8-16 national course. And I always admired, when I was a young person, 17, 18 years old, I used to work for cable TV as an installer, and I'd go into people's homes, and I always admired the older gentlemen would always have everything organized and labeled, and I said, man, where do you find time to do all this? But I'll be working on connecting all the sensors to the engine and doing the electrical harness, any improvements, as soon as the tools and wires, and I'll be setting the baseline timing, and I'll show you how I do that. And again, this is not according to Hoyle. Some of this is out of the box stuff that you learn when you try to do it, and you find that the way the book says to do it is great if you're at a dealership or a general mechanic shop. But if you're working on a farm in the dirt like I am, in crude situations, you got to do things a little differently, especially if you don't have an assistant or somebody that can help you. Anyway, this is how I do my electrical. I have this box organized. These are tackle boxes, and I have all my electrical stuff organized. Although I do think I got way too many female, and I don't like these kind of lugs because they pop off sometimes. I much prefer this kind of lug, because that'll stay on the terminal, the ring connectors. And when I worked for FAA, I always asked the installation guys, why don't you use spade lugs? They go on and off easier. And they said, yeah, that's the reason we don't use them. We use ring terminals, and we crimp and solder. So anyway, this is how I have it organized for this tackle box. The other tackle box, this is my tackle box for, got it marked, electrical terminals, connectors, and materials. And these are my tools and testers, and I have some materials in here for quick access. And I'm okay with using crimp connectors as long as they're soldered after I crimp them. But hey, that's me. I try never to say what's best, because people will argue to death over what, and it's pointless. It's a dumpster fire. I don't have time for that. Anyway, I know some people like power probes, but those are expensive. Some of them are cheaper, but I like the good old-fashioned light or a multimeter. And I like this continuity tester because it makes a sound, this X-Tech CT20. I ordered a new one because the other one I think failed, but I'm going to look at it closer. And this is for the lug terminals. Now, I do plan to run some extra grounds on my van from the battery to the engine, and the engine to the fuel pump, because they have so many problems with these General Motors ML vans and trucks. With, as they age, they get corrosion, and then you have poor grounds from the corrosion. So running additional ground cables will get you around that problem until either it falls to pieces or until you can have the corrosion repaired. And I'm not doing a full restoration on my vehicle. I'm just gonna get into what I can do in a few days, because I may not get back to this project again until next year, 2025. So my audience, I appreciate your patience. Give me a thumbs up if there's anything that I mentioned in here or explained that's useful, like, you know, why am I obsessive compulsive about marking and labeling things. I started doing that when P-Touch labelers were affordable, and some of them I use a Word document, and I started using these bags to do things. But you know, at my age, and I have some short-term memory loss problems, I'm noticing it helps when I have things clearly labeled, including deal with this when you can later. So for now, I got to get to work, but this is the intro segment of the video production, video diary, documentary for today. This is not a how-to, and please don't bother posting anything saying this is better, this is worse. You know, I don't play that game. Yes, we can say what is better or what is worse, but what is the best? That's an ultimate statement. And I don't like to say what is best. I like to say, you know, what I like. You know, it's an opinion. If I say what I like, it's an opinion. But I try to quote official sources as much as I can by using the service manuals, and I show you the pages, and I take photographs of the pages to try to back up an opinion with what the manual says. And God gave me a gift to retain manuals, which is why, you know, I ended up in technical support for the Federal Aviation Administration, and I love that job, and I like the people. I would see so many people every day when I went to work, and you know, it was just really nice. And since I retired, I'm alone all the time, it seems, or with family. So anyway, thanks for watching. This is Dennis Seitzma. My target audience is Astro van, General Motor van enthusiasts, the ML vans from the 90s and early 2000s. Enthusiasts, 3/4, 3/8 bolts, national course, flange bolts or regular bolts. And so I tried to order from Napa, and I found a good part number for the ones I think they are, and it's Rockford RFD 2701630 for the 1 3/4. And I called the 800 number for Napa, 1-800-538-6272, Napa online, and that was a waste of time. They said call your local store. So I called the local store at 305-247-3344, and I didn't get the agent's name, but he says, oh, you can't order this online because you need to buy a box of 25 and it's special order. And I said, well, how do I do that? And anyway, I'm not sure this is what I need, and I certainly don't need 25, and it was like it wasn't cheap. So then I called the GM dealer, Bonham, B-O-N-M-I-N, in Homestead, 305-248-0717, and I spoke with Lazaro, and he gave me these part numbers as a quote. And this looks better on the computer. The printer is kind of funky. So anyway, Lazaro helped me with the part numbers, and then oh, exhaust manifold research. Anyway, I can't get them. I called Mitchell in near the falls, and this is the bolt I was trying to get from Napa, the Rockford RFD 2701630, and couldn't get it. So then finally called mitchellsmiami.com at 305-235-7205, and they said I need to talk to somebody named Steven, and I can't talk to him till he'll be in today, but he's in and out. So, and Monday's a holiday, so even if I went there at the falls, which is quite a drive from Homestead, the traffic is horrendous. It's only 15 miles, but anyway, 305-235-7205. I can't go there till Tuesday. So I'm back to square zero, which is just using what I have on hand. Okay, I'm working on the right hand side, the starboard side, the right bank, 1994 Astro van. I just attached this spark plug retainer bracket thing. It's a metal, and it holds the spark plug wires. And tech tip is to, before you put the bolt in, make sure you know it's the correct bolt, and it's a quarter dash 20. Yeah, quarter dash, where are my bolts? Dang it. Yeah, SAE quarter dash 20, 3/4 inch with a 3/8 socket, and figure out the tools you're going to use before you try to put it in there, and it goes in easier. I use this tiny drive and a 3/8 inch socket, and you can see the gold bolt. I used one of the new bolts as opposed to the old ones. Yeah, so, and that holds the spark plug wires. So job done there. I can I'm not going to plug the wires in just yet. I want to finish making sure I got bolts holding all, you know, even if I have to use the wrong bolt and washer it up. I'm just going to do this for now. I want to get done with the right bank, and I still have to get the nuts I need to hold the ignition coil in place. I know I got them somewhere, I just got to find them. So on to the next segment. Mr. Iguana is stuck in the van, Hey, iguana. Hey, iguana. They get mean when they get big. They're cute when they're little. But anyway, I finally found a bolt online that is 1 3/4 inch long, flange head, grade 8, 3/8 inch national course. So we will forego any other entertainment on the right bank until I get the correct bolt, I guess. I'll use a 2-inch bolt for the moment. And I don't know why it popped up all of a sudden on Amazon. I've been looking for hours and hours for a day or two trying to find a 3/8 inch national course by 1 3/4 inch. So got 4 of them coming. Should be here tomorrow. So I don't need to putz around with this anymore on the passenger side, on the right bank, the starboard bank. So we'll move on to the left bank, I guess. Hello audience, Astro van enthusiasts, automotive fans that like this kind of thing. It's 5:08 in the afternoon Eastern Time in the Redland Farm area, Homestead, Florida, USA. Okay, I struggled along and got all the bolts in on the right hand bank. I found that 2-inch bolts would work with a washer or two, and I have ordered 1 3/4 inch bolts and 2-inch bolts that'll be here tomorrow or day after. SAE 3/16 national course, 3/16-16 national course bolts. So I did all that on the passenger side, and then I moved over to let me switch sides. Let me pause the camera for a minute. I put a coat or paint or two on the front of the engine around the harmonic balancer. And for people having trouble with vacuum leaks, the canister here is this round thing on the passenger side. And usually those are pretty durable. They don't fail if they're the round ones. What happens is the vacuum line deteriorates or pops off. So started working on the driver's side, and I can get all the bolts in except this one. I can't get that one to line up no matter what I do. And I found if I ran a tap through different things, bottom tap like a 3 SAE 3/16-16 tap, national course. Some of the bolts had a little bit of rust in them, so things work a lot better if you run a bottom tap through there. And we are moving on to, let me pause the camera again, hang on. And I've been struggling on the driver's side. I got 5 out of 6 bolts that line up, but the one in the front doesn't want to line up. So I don't know if there's a problem with the head not being drilled properly, or that's what it's got to be, because the exhaust manifold has been the same for 30 years. So I may have to compromise the manifold a little bit, take this off and drill it to get that last bolt in, maybe. And I would hate to do that because this thing is a pain to get on and off. I can see why people use studs. But I did put the spark plug protectors, the heat shields on. So I don't know, I may just leave it like this and come get it running and come back to this later. 5 out of 6 bolts ain't 100%, but and I wanted to be 100% before I return the core to Powertrain Products. And I got some nice comments on some of my videos diary. This is not a how-to. This is a video diary, a documentary. That's the word, documentary. And you don't have to watch all of it, just watch what you're interested in, and you can skip to the next one or fast forward to the end if you want to see my research photographs. I ordered another tool for priming the oil pump because I'm curious. I want to pull that distributor out and see if I can't get oil pressure using the tool, because I'm giving up on this OEM tool that I was talking about in my prior, and I looked up online to call OEM tools, and guess what? If you call that phone number, it's a "we want to sell you this, we want to sell you that" garbage. And you can go on the internet and look up OEM tools and then look up their contact information, call that phone number, and they will try to give you, "Are you over 50? We'll sell you this, we'll sell you that." Garbage. And there is no number I can find to call OEM tools to tell them that I can't get their tool to work. So I'm going to go back to where I bought it at AutoZone and talk to them and say, "Hey, this thing says it'll work and it don't. And I know it's been more than 6 months since I bought it, but I'm not a happy customer." And in the past I've done things like that, and I've contacted the big company like AutoZone or O'Reilly or Coleman or Kohler or whatever, and they send me a gift certificate to my favorite restaurant or something, or they give me a credit. Now the weird thing is I can't figure out what this sucker does on. I can't take it out. It seems to be embedded in this cover, and I don't recall it being on the old one. So I got to look at the old one and compare. But it's getting later in the day now. It's after 5. So I need to get a little more work done before the sun goes down. And I want to get the wiring done. And you look down here, you can see that bolt. You see that bolt there? That's got to go into the back of the engine, and that's your ground point, the one that always corrodes and gives us trouble. I see a lot of posts that are a problem with the wiring harness ground, which is right here on the wiring harness. And you see that? That's got to be grounded real well to the engine block and no corrosion. So got to do that. And I'll do the rest of the sensors and the wiring. And I did contact pacergroup.net, and I talked to the agent. Her name was Fran, and I negotiated their shipping it to me, and I'm paying the shipping, because she said that what I ordered on the internet was at the Lauderdale store, but it's being shipped to the farm here in Homestead. So that'll save me a day travel in heavy traffic by having the stuff shipped here, the wire, because I need the green wire and the black wire in 16 gauge for the air conditioner, green and black. And a lot of times people say they have no AC, intermittent compressor. It's usually because this connector is deteriorated or the wiring needs to be replaced. So I'll replace this green and black that goes to the AC compressor with marine grade wire, and I'll solder all the connections because that's what I like to do. And I talked to the guy at the Chevy dealer, Lazaro, and he was kind enough to give me a quote and the part numbers, and he even took a photograph and texted it to me, so I didn't have to go to the Chevy dealer to get those part numbers. But the GM database is showing that the bolts on this side are like 2 1/4 inch long, and I got to study the book a little more. Hang on, I'm going to switch sides here. Okay, I'm on the passenger side. Now I have to study how they have these studs set up This is the driver's side for a VIN Z. Mine's a VIN W, but it's pretty much the same thing. Because it does show a couple of bolts and it does show a couple of studs, and probably the air conditioner mounts on the studs, so you do have to pay attention to what goes where. And it looks better on my computer when I take a picture like this. Everything fights me. The wind, every time I try to change a page here. Okay, so, and this is a better picture here that shows the setup that they have, where the front two are studs on the driver's side. They're studs, not bolts, and then the rest are bolts. And on the passenger side, they're all bolts. So that's what I need to do. And if you all been watching the videos, and you don't have to watch them all, this is very boring. You can fast forward or go on to the next day or into the past, whatever you want to do with the video diary production on this fan. This is what you do to measure an avocado. If it has to be that big for the packing house to them to accept it. It has to be that big, the avocado. And my avocados are different than what you get in the grocery stores. Mine are green avocados, which are big. What you see in grocery stores are little tiny Hass, H-A-S-S, Hass avocados. And they taste good. They're buttery, they're yummy, but they're tiny. They're the size of golf balls compared to the size of a softball, which is, or bigger, which is what the green avocado. I grow Monroe and Simmons and Walden and Donnies. And the Donnies weren't doing so well. I planted some Donnies and all the trees died, so I only have one surviving Donnie tree, and the rest, the Simmons are doing pretty well. But we had a blight here a couple of years ago, so my production numbers are way down on the avocados. So I will carry on, and I've explained what I got to do next, which is I'm going to change those bolts out in the front for studs, because that's what the service manual shows. I don't know how I would do this without the service manual. Actually, it's really something. So thanks for watching, audience. Give me a thumbs up if any good information in here. Appreciate it. Okay, it's around 6:15, August 30th, 2024. It's a Friday afternoon. We are carrying on. The service manual says this stud goes for cylinder number 1 on the left bank, bolt holes 1 and 2 on the exhaust manifold. It's at least a grade 8 bolt. It's 2 and a quarter inch, 2 1/4 inch on the long side, 3/4 of an inch on the short side, and I need 2 of these. I can only find 1, so I'm looking to buy another one online and I can't find it. These bolts are 3/8 of an inch national course, so that'd be 3/8-16 national course, and the long side has got threads, and this is 2 1/4. This side is 3/4 of an inch, less than an inch. And where the other one went, who knows. But I can't get it to go in straight. It wants to go in cross-threaded on bolt hole number 1. I can't get it to go in straight. So I got to pull off the exhaust manifold on the port side and use a bottom tap, a 3/8 of an inch -16 national course bottom tap. And here's my grandfather's tap collection. He was a postal carrier in Roseland, Illinois. Beautiful little town in the years he was there. And then one day it changed and everybody left and the crime level shot up. But before he left, people were throwing rocks through his living room window with notes saying, "You can't live here anymore." And he also had people setting his garage on fire, not once but twice, but 3 times. And my grandmother was suffering with dementia and Alzheimer's and depression all about the same time that this happened. So my whole family left Chicago and moved to Homestead in 1968. But my grandfather was a really good man, and he liked tinkering. He used to go to the city dump and find bicycles that people had thrown away, and he would bring them home and refurbish them. And he liked doing that. And I got taps and dies and all that. Now what arrived is, here's the grounding washers, and these are really hard to come by, and I need to get these in electrical connectors, and I can't. And I've been on Newark Electronics and Mauser Electronics and all the automotive sites. I'll find it eventually. And my new continuity tester arrived to replace the one that failed. I never saw one of these fail before, but this is a CT20, and oh, those things have doubled in price since the last time I bought one. But I like it. It's a good continuity tester, and it's handy, and I like it because it's got the beep 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 on it. I don't have a battery in this one yet. So I'm making some notes so I don't forget what I said, and I'm sorry if I repeat myself on these videos. Sometimes I don't remember what I said, but this is 2 1/4 inch stud with a 3/4 inch on the opposite side, and I need to find another one, and I need to get this to go in without cross threading. So I'm waiting for some tools to arrive. I'm waiting for a ratchet wrench 9/16 to arrive, and I'm waiting for some bolts to arrive that I bought online, and the bolts won't help me with these studs though. So every time I solve one problem, I'm running into another, but I'm trying to put this back according to Hoyle, according to the GM service manual. And we'll move on to something else, another subject here. I'm going to pause the camera. I'm using this 3-piece pry bar set, Pittsburgh tools I bought at Harbor Freight, to try to leverage the exhaust manifold into place, and using these different length ones and trying to pry the metal just a little bit so I can get the bolt in. So I'll be efforting that, but it's a waste of time for me to do any more with the left manifold until I get another stud somewhere. Probably Rock Auto will have it. They had some funky looking stuff that I didn't agree with on Rock Auto for exhaust bolts, and so I may have to go to that. And I still have the information that the gentleman at the Chevy dealer sent me, so I'll ferret that out. I'm going to move on beyond the manifold here, but I'm going to give it one more shot. Okay, as you can see here, I got the pry bar into the left side of the #1 cylinder and the #1 hole on the left bank, so I can pry against this bar and pull it back and try to get the stud next to it to go in, and it won't go in. So that's the situation. I don't know what the hell is wrong that it won't go in. But moving on to another subject, I disconnected these fuel injection lines, and you want to make sure that you don't pop off the little grommet there, the seal on the end when you're working on this. You want to make sure that stays on there. And I got the bolt. I went underneath and I secured that bolt, and I got to loosen it enough so I can wiggle and get these to go back and reconnect the fuel lines. And from this angle you can see that stud that I'm trying to get in bolt hole #2 around the #1 exhaust, cylinder #1 exhaust, and can't get it to line up. But the rest of the bolts are in, so it almost looks like there's a machining problem with this head on the port side, And to return this to Powertrain Products for that I wouldn't want to do, but you know, it's either right or it's not right. So, and like I said, I can't figure out why this is like that. I gotta go back to my old valve cover that I have on the core and take a look at that. But let's go into the van for a minute. I want to show you something there. Okay, we're under the van now, and from this perspective you can clearly see that bolt back there that we have to, that's the grounding bolt. I gotta get a different angle on here so you can see it. Come on, where are we at? Okay, you see this, the stud there, that has to be grounded properly to, come on, damn it, it's gotta be grounded properly to the engine harness. The stud goes in the engine, holds the clamp, and then the cables go on the other side. Now I'm going to run another ground from there back here to where we connect the fuel pump ground, which goes to the frame. I'm going to run a cable from here to the engine. Why GM didn't do that, I don't know, but they have a lot of trouble with grounding and bonding because of that. So I'm going to go to Pacer Group and have one made to my specs, and then I'll install it later. But I wanted to talk about these flexible fuel lines here. You see those, hang on, let me turn on the flashlight. Those fuel lines are 30 years old, and when they fail they collapse internally, which could be a cause of your low fuel pressure on a CPI system, 92 to 95 or any other. It's good to replace your perishables, and I don't have a part number for that, so if anybody knows, and it's only, I don't know, a foot or two long from there, and what is going on with my screen? Anyway, it goes from there to there. It's about a foot long, 2 rubber lines, and I don't know the thread sizes, so I could probably have these fabricated locally. There's a hydraulic supply line in Florida City shop that makes up hydraulic lines to your specs, and I don't know what's on my screen here. You probably see it too because it looks like it's part of the video, or I got a piece of grass over the lens, I don't know which. Anyway, moving on to the next segment. Okay, it's 6:47 in the evening. You get a good shot there of how I had to do that bolt to the, maybe to the back there. Of course the wire has to hang in the way all the time, damn it. Alright, there you can see I used a couple extension, a 3/8 drive, and a 9/16 steep well, and I got on that stud and was able to tighten it up. I got the fuel lines connected first, of course, and now I'm going to try to get the numbers off of the transmission here, because I tried to get parts for this, and the guy says, well, I need the numbers off it, and I said okay, and I tried and I took some pictures, but none of them have come out so far. I don't know if you can read that or not, but I'm going to take some pictures with my iPhone 14, try to get the numbers off it that way. This is a 4L60E transmission, and there you got how I did the woozy-wuzzy for that bolt that holds the lines for the fuel injection. And I might be mistaken about where that grounding goes. It may go to another bolt, but anyway, that's got to happen, so that's job done. My battery's almost dead, so I need to take a break, and it's about 6:30 in the evening now, same day. Well, it's getting to the time of the evening where those nasty little mosquitoes come out, and we have a serious concern about East equine encephalitis. That's a killer. If you need to take it seriously. It kills people. Why people don't inoculate their horses, I'm not sure, but I guess horse people maybe don't know how dangerous Triple E is. And we got West Nile virus, and so I'm gonna pack it up for tonight. I'd like to work later, but I gotta study the book. I gotta ferret out if the knock sensor and the coolant sensor on the port side, on the driver's side, which one goes in the head and which one goes in the block. I think the knock sensor goes in the head and the coolant sensor goes in the block. I got a 50-50 chance on that, and I'm expecting a 9/16 ratchet wrench to come in with a swivel head, so that'll make my work a little easier on the port bank on the exhaust side, having that tool when it arrives. And also I ordered a deep well spark plug for the #1 cylinder, and that'll help me get that out so I can time the engine. And I used a breaker bar, a big breaker bar, and a socket to turn the engine, and man, this thing's got compression like you wouldn't believe, or there's something ain't right. One of the two. But it turned over okay with the plugs out, so I'm sure it'll be fine with the plugs in, but I can hardly turn it without the socket slipping off using this big breaker bar. This is a, I don't know, how big is this thing? I don't know, 3 foot, 4 foot breaker bar and a socket on the harmonic balancer. So I'll do some more tomorrow, weather permitting. This will be it for the evening. I gotta go get some dinner, clean up and get some dinner, and then come back and work on this some more tomorrow, weather permitting. But tonight I may slip in and study the manuals a little bit and see what they say about where those sensors go, and I'll continue with the wiring, because without the wiring she ain't never going to start and run. So I'll do that, and I'll work around the problem with the exhaust manifold in the meantime. I'll get it right sooner or later. I'm sure I don't need to send this engine back for a messed up head, but if it ain't right, I paid a lot of money for this, so it needs to be 100%. So we'll see some more. This is a documentary, not a how-to. So audience, thanks for watching.